Let's talk about populism. When I'm talking about populism, I'm referring to the populist movement, in particular the populist movement of the late 1800s, not the populist movement from the past couple of years, although they have very similar characteristics. The objective is to be able to define and describe the populist movement of the late 1800s. The populist movement consisted of the Populist Party, which was also referred to as the People's Party. The party was comprised of Southern and Western farmers. They were very angry at both the Democrats and the Republicans. They felt that neither of those parties had represented their interest, the interest of the ordinary Americans. Many of these farmers had migrated out west due to, in part, the Homestead Act. So farming is a part of the American dream, the culture. It's often very romanticized. Live off the land and be prosperous. Go out west and start your own small farm and be self-sufficient. But what happened was a couple of things. One, thanks to U.S. industrialization, small farmers can't compete with larger mechanized farms. And also, there's an economic depression. So small farms are going to start to struggle, and they will often go broke. And these small farmers will leave their farms and go to the cities to find factory jobs. So who did the farmers blame? They blamed the middlemen. They blamed the money lenders or the bankers and the railroads. They blamed the government, specifically the politicians in Congress. They felt there was too high of transportation rates, particularly by the railroads, because the railroads were the ones who were transporting their agricultural goods. They felt there was not enough currency in the system, particularly gold and silver. They thought trust and monopolies were a problem, as well as tariffs. There was also too much speculation in the market, causing their prices to go down. So how did they want to resolve them? Well, first they wanted to get rid of the middlemen and the moneylenders and issue directly to the people. In other words, instead of having these banks issue mortgages and money for mortgages, they would be issued directly to the people and cut out the middleman. They thought there should be more silver and gold in the system. They wanted transportation and communication owned by the people. They wanted a graduated income tax. And then they wanted direct election of senators. They felt that Congress was very corrupt and that they were being bribed by these railroad owners or by the oil barons. And in part they were right. But other people disagreed with the farmers, particularly economic experts. They said the economic condition of the farmers was due to supply and demand. In other words, it was kind of their own fault. Supply was high, which caused the prices to drop. Here is an illustration of that. Here are a couple of graphs on the side here. In this graph, you can see the wheat production going up, and while at the same time, the price per bushel going down. And economists really were right in this case. There had been overproduction by the farmers. And then others said that if you add more currency, it would debase its worth, particularly President McKinley. That if you put more money into the system, such as if you put more silver into the system, it's just going to debase the worth of the gold. And that could be problematic. Okay, so that's a brief lecture on populism. If you have any questions, please let me know.